Hey everyone, Harry over at Tackle Express. In this video today, we're gonna have a showdown. The Shimano SpeedMaster versus the Penn Fathom II Speed. And the showdown begins, the SpeedMaster versus the Penn Fathom. These two reels are both very comparable in price, quality, and performance of their capability, but there are some advantages and disadvantages to both. And in this video, we're gonna cover it all to see which reel is gonna be best for you. Over here with the SpeedMasters, we have a 10, 16, as well as a 25. This one's a great 20 to 40 pound rod and reel. This one's a great 40 to 60, and then the 25 is your large 60 to 100 pound outfit. While over here from the Penn Fathoms, we have a 25, an 80, a 40, as well as an 80, which is very comparable to the sizes of the SpeedMasters I have here. Starting off with the two-speed mechanisms from both of these reels. They are very similar, but they are slightly different. On the SpeedMaster, you simply just click it in to get into low and push it down back for high. Super quick, super easy, don't have to do too much to access all those two-speed mechanisms. While referencing over here to the Penn Fathom, they call this their quick shifter. Simply click it in, into low. When you're ready to get to high, you don't even need to take your handle off the reel. Just like that, and you're back into high. Now we're gonna take a look at the drag settings on both of these reels. But before I move on, let's get a little idea of what these reels are capable. So we got the SpeedMaster 10 as well as the Fathom 25. What we like to spool on these is anywhere from 50 to 60 pound braided line fishing leaders that might be, say, 20 to 40 pound tests, local offshore fishing, tuna, yellowtail, rockfish, really good all around local fishing reels. You jump up to the SpeedMaster 16 in comparison to the Penn Fathom Sporty. These reels are definitely better for 80, 100 pound braid, fishing leaders that might be 40 to 60, 80 pound tests. Jumping up to the big dogs, SpeedMaster 25, Fathom 80. You want to spool these guys with no less than 80 or 100 pound braid, and we're looking to fish leaders that might be 60 to 100 pound tests. So these are definitely going to be your larger applications, offshore, larger class fish species. While the smaller ones, they'll be for more of your local, offshore, 20 to 40 on the small ones, 40 to 60 on the big, 80 to 100 on these real big guys. So now we're gonna start taking a look at the drag settings with these lever drag reels. And again, these are two speeds. Being lever drag, you cannot touch your preset drag anytime while your reel is in gear. If it's anywhere on this lever drag fulcrum and not in free spool, you do not want to touch this. You'll break the drag washer. It will definitely affect the performance of the reel and will not allow you to fish it when you need to. So when it comes to setting the drag, all the way in free spool, now you can tighten or loosen any which way that you need for the particular setting that you're going to be doing. So with these SpeedMasters, you simply send it to free spool, you can tighten or loosen with ease, and then they go up into the drag curve, and they'll have this little stopper here. That way it will prevent you from getting too excited and sending it too far forward, breaking your fish off. If you come to need more drag, you're not going to take it to free spool, roll the dial, you're going to have it in strike, click that little button, and slowly go up into full, which will incrementally increase the amount of drag pressure being applied. Rolling over here to the Penn Fathom, which is very, very similar. Same exact lever drag circumstances. You do not want to adjust this lever drag unless it is all the way in free spool. Again, if it's anywhere on the lever drag, all the way down to free spool, now you can do your adjustments. So Penn describes their preset drag as the pull to turn, which the idea behind that is you set it one and done, you forget about it, leave it unless something changes. Figure you change your line size, class of fish changes, whatever it may be. If you are, say, fishing 30 pounds of drag at strike and everything's good, you leave it. But if you need to do any sort of adjustment, all the way to free spool, pull out, and you can tighten or loosen. And again, the whole science behind the pull to turn ratio is to, oh, I set my drag, it's done, I'm gonna forget it and leave it. One of the bigger differences between these two reels now is going to be the handles. So on all of the Speedmasters, they'll come with these standard round knobs. There's nothing wrong with them, but once we jump up to these larger size reels like this SpeedMaster 25, and we're fishing 80, 100-pound tests looking for fish that are in the triple-digit classification, this little handle can be a little bit tiring on your palm. It can wear blisters. You don't have a whole lot to grab and really torque on. So that's one of the not so great circumstances, at least on these larger series of the Speedmasters. You can get replacement aftermarket handles. It's just an added cost to the expense of the reel. Overall, it is fantastic. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the handle. It's very, very sturdy. Just in these larger applications like the 20 and 25 looking for triple-digit classification fish, it would be nicer to have a T-knob style or a T-bar style handle. While rolling over to our Penn Fathoms, from the smallest all the way to the largest, they come inclusive with T-bar handles, which allows you to get a lot more to grab. You can really torque on it. It gives you a lot more power and control. Though with these Fathoms, they are just fine. They are excellent. But once you start getting into their larger class reels, starting around the 40, 60 up to the 80, their handles are a little soft. They're not bad, but they do have a little bit more wiggle than other reels that I've seen, especially in comparison to these Speedmasters. So with that being said, up to say 40, 50, 60-pound tests, these handles are just fine. You will not have a bit of an issue. But as we jump up into these larger class reels, fishing 100-pound tests, looking for triple-digit fish, there has been some stuff happen with these handles. It seems like the manufacturer has resolved and fixed their issues, but there is someone local in our vicinity that goes by Reel Tweaks. There are a lot of customers and individuals that go to him for upgraded power handle replacements in substitution to the stock handle, which again, on all of your smaller reels, they are just fine. It's just once you get into this bigger class, these handles become to be a little bit on the soft side. Now let's take a look at how the free spool between these two reels compare, because free spool can be an extremely important thing, especially out here on the West Coast where we have a lot of offshore fishing. We have to fly line a lot of our baits, which is just a hook, line, no sinker, and you just get a bait away from the boat. That's very important to have a reel that's going to free spool well in order to get that bait as far away from the boat as possible to give yourself the best odds of catching a fish. Or if you're fishing a jig or you're doing any sort of casting, a good free spool is going to make a tremendous difference. With the Speedmasters, they have 4 ball bearings, but they use their SARB, which are shielded anti-rust bearings. So they're very high-end quality. You're not going to have any issues with corrosion. Either way, between any of these reels, anytime your reel touches the saltwater, you most definitely want to rinse it with fresh water, but the shielded anti-rust bearings are going to help and minimize a lot of the corrosion you might see. Rolling over to the Fathoms over here, they have 5 stainless steel ball bearings, which instead of having 4, you get 5. So both of these reels are going to be very comparable in terms of their free spooling effect, but they are a little bit different. So these Fathoms, they have a forged aluminum spool. So they do have a little bit of weight, which does take a little bit more to get them rolling. But once they're in motion, these guys spin very, very well, and your thumb better be ready to slow it down when it's needed. So these guys, free spool, excellent. Fishing a jig, flicking out a live bait, these guys are gonna do you just fine. While taking a look over at the Speedmaster, these guys have a taller diameter of the inside of the spool, which there's nothing wrong with that. Shimano does excellent work. These guys will free spool and cast just fine, but a little bit difference that I see here, it's just got a little bit wider spool. Sometimes it might take a little bit more to especially get something of this size to start spinning, but while when you look at this little 10, still a little bit wide of a spool, but this thing free spools excellent. Now let's break down these reels individually. We're going to start over here in the Speedmaster lineup. So Shimano, they utilize a Hagane body, which is their metal that they use on almost all of their reel-wise. It's a very high-end, rigid material that's going to allow very minimal binding or flexing, if any at all. So that's going to keep the frame itself to the most solid composition it can. There's going to be no flexing or binding whatsoever. It also has the S compact body. With what that is, this palm side is 25% smaller than this A side over here, which is going to create for easier palming, less fatigue while you're fishing. It's going to allow you to fish these reels longer and not get tired and need to set them down. They also have a technology called Core Protect, which is a water-resistant coating that they put on the inside of their gears on your main and pinion. And what that's going to do is it's going to repel the water. That way it doesn't rust or corrode inside, keeping everything inside looking great, greased, and ready for the next battle with more and more fish. Then one of the bigger features about these also come with a feature called Super Free Spool, which what that is it's a reduced amount of friction from the spool shaft while casting. So what that's going to do is it eliminates that added friction and is going to allow that guy to spin even more freely, which even though just previously I mentioned that the diameter of the bottom of the spool was quite thick, but that Super Free Spool technology is going to compensate a lot of what I had just mentioned back then. The shielded anti-rust ball bearings, excellent choice on these guys. Now getting down to more of the specific details for each and individual reel here. We have the 10, the 16, as well as the 25. This SpeedMaster 10 comes with 18 pounds of drag, a 40-pound braided line. It quotes right around 440 yards and weighs in at a whopping 19 ounces of weight. Looking at the 16, it has 40 pounds of drag, 450 yards of 80, and 26.5 ounces in weight. And then finishing with the SpeedMaster lastly, 25. 44 pounds of drag, 100-pound quotes right around 470 yards. Though with that being said, I have spooled a number of these in the shop and I have exceeded well over 470 yards on numerous occasions. So I would say that that rating is probably a little on the slim side. I would guarantee you should be able to get at least 5 to 550 depending on how much leader you might run. And this guy weighs in at 36.2 ounces. While in comparison to our Penn Fathoms, we have a 25 narrow, a 40 narrow, as well as the 80. So these reels are all great. They have a purpose. Again, the 25 compared to the 10, these guys are great live bait setups, 20 to 40 pound test, 40 to 60, 60 to 100 on all the big guys. But looking over here, these guys come with the core of these reels is the stainless drive and pinion gear, which is going to allow that guy to just continue to take a beating over and over again, fish after fish, and is going to keep you on the water with minimal to zero issues, if any. It's got a one-piece aluminum frame and side plate, which is going to minimize any sort of binding or flexing. It's going to be one of the most rigid options that they can put into a reel at this particular cost. A forged and machined spool, 5 stainless steel ball bearings, as well as the quick shifter mechanism for their 2-speed were some of the more standouts on this reel. But now breaking down each and individual one, this Fathom 25 comes with 33 pounds of drag in comparison to what was 18 pounds of drag. So there's a little bit more drag from the Fathom. 475 yards of a 50-pound braid is what it quotes, and weighing in at 20.1, while this one weighed in at 19 ounces. So a little bit less weight, has more drag, which is definitely a nice thing. Over here with the Fathom 40, that guy has 40 pounds of drag and 565 yards of 80, which should be plenty, and it weighs in at 24.1 ounces. Finally, finishing up with our Fathom 80, it has a whopping 50 pounds of drag, which is way more than any of us could ever use. I'm definitely a rather small individual. I'm lucky to be able to hold on to 30 pounds of drag, so having 20 more pounds past 30 is more than enough for just about any application or any fish that you're trying to target. I would say that they overquote this one. While I think that they underquoted the Shimano SpeedMaster 25, I really think they might have overquoted this Penn Fathom 80. Of 100-pound test, they quote 980 yards, which I would say that is a little bit far-fetched. That's a lot of line. Sure, if it's a real thin diameter, different than majority on what's on the market, sure, that would make sense. But these two are very comparable for both performance, cost, and spool capacity. Instead of 980 yards, I would say it would be more acceptable to be between 600 to 700 yards. And this guy weighs in at 32.9 ounces. Thank you so much to everyone watching our videos. We appreciate it so very much. And if you wouldn't mind to ring that bell to be notified on our next video, like and subscribe, and feel free to drop a comment below of which you feel is the best and which reel you're gonna pick. And I hope this video helped narrow down your choice to isolate which of these reels offers the best features and which one's gonna work best for you. And until the next video, guys, I'm Harry over at Tackle Express. Tight lines.